The heated USA versus Canada rivalry at the Four Nations face-off. A deafening chorus of boos filled the arena as the U.S. national anthem played. And just seconds after the puck dropped, chaos erupted. Fists flew, gloves hit the ice, and the game turned into a battlefield before a single goal was scored. This wasn't just another hockey game. This was war on ice. Welcome to United Sports, your ultimate destination for in-depth game analysis, breaking sports stories, and thrilling match summaries. Today, we dive deep into one of the most intense and emotionally charged games in recent history. Team USA versus Team Canada in the Four Nations face-off. This legendary rivalry has produced some of the most dramatic moments in hockey, but what unfolded in this game was beyond anyone's expectations. From fierce pre-game tensions to a stunning U.S. victory, this showdown had everything. Few rivalries in sports can match the sheer intensity of USA versus Canada in hockey. It's more than just a game. It's a battle of pride, history, and national dominance. With both teams boasting stacked rosters filled with NHL superstars, this Four Nations face-off matchup was destined to be explosive. But no one could have predicted the level of hostility that would unfold before the game even truly began. The energy inside the Bell Center in Montreal was electric, fueled by decades of competition and national pride. As the teams lined up for the national anthems, the tension was already building. Then came a moment that sent shockwaves through the hockey world. The crowd of over 21,000 Canadian fans loudly booing the U.S. national anthem. It was a scene unlike any other, a stark reminder of how deeply personal this rivalry runs. Even after an announcer pleaded for respect, the jeers continued, setting the stage for what was to come. This wasn't just a battle for tournament standings. This was a statement game. On the ice, both teams knew what was at stake. With the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau watching from the stands, the home team had the pressure of an entire nation on their shoulders. Meanwhile, Team USA skated onto the ice with a clear mission: to silence the crowd and prove they were the superior team. From the very first drop of the puck, it was evident that emotions were running high, and neither side was willing to back down. Then, in just the first 9 seconds, absolute mayhem broke loose. Gloves were off, and fists were flying in a full-scale brawl that ignited the arena. 3 separate fights erupted simultaneously, with Matthew Tkachuk squaring off against Brandon Hagel, while Brady Tkachuk took on Sam Bennett. It was a display of raw emotion, aggression, and the deep-seated animosity between these two hockey giants. The referees had to step in early, but the message was already clear. This wasn't just about winning a game. It was about making a statement. Beyond the fights, this game had a playoff-like atmosphere from start to finish. Every hit, every pass, and every shot carried extra weight. The crowd fed off the energy on the ice, and the players responded with relentless intensity. With each team bringing their best talent, it was a battle of skill just as much as it was a battle of physicality. Superstars like Connor McDavid, Dylan Larkin, and Jake Guentzel took center stage, ready to lead their teams to victory. For Team USA, this match carried even greater significance. Canada had been nearly unstoppable, riding a 17-game winning streak in best-on-best international competition. The Americans knew that to break that streak, they had to be both physically dominant and strategically sharp. This meant not just surviving Canada's aggressive play, but outplaying them in every aspect of the game. The early brawls sent a message, but the real test would come in the battle for goals. As the opening period progressed, the intensity only grew. The fans were roaring, players were clashing, and the ice became a battlefield of speed, skill, and brute force. Every moment of this game felt personal. For Canada, defending their home ice and their winning streak was non-negotiable. For Team USA, proving they could not only compete but dominate on the biggest stage was the ultimate goal. The stakes couldn't have been higher, and the game was just getting started. The anticipation for this matchup had been building for weeks, but no one could have predicted just how chaotic and emotional it would become. The fights in the opening moment set the tone, but it was what happened next, on the scoreboard and in key game-changing moments, that would define the legacy of this showdown. This wasn't just about brawling. It was about hockey supremacy, and as the game progressed, the battle shifted from brute force to tactical brilliance. In the next part, We'll take you through every crucial moment of this intense game, from the first goal to the final buzzer, from breakaway plays to defensive showdowns. How did Team USA dismantle Canada's game plan? Which players stepped up when it mattered most? And how did this game ultimately shake up the Four Nations tournament? Stay tuned as we break down the full match, goal by goal, play by play. Full match breakdown, fights, goals, and key moments from start to finish. The opening seconds of the game had already sent a clear message. This was not just another matchup. With 3 fights erupting within the first 9 seconds, the Bell Center turned into a battlefield before the first real play was even set. The crowd, already riled up from the controversial booing of the U.S. national anthem, fed off the intensity on the ice. Matthew Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel exchanged blows, while Brady Tkachuk and Sam Bennett engaged in a brutal showdown. The referees had to step in early, but the tone was already set. This game would be one for the ages. Once the fists settled and actual gameplay resumed, Canada wasted no time in striking first blood. Their captain and superstar, Connor McDavid, found the back of the net, sending the home crowd into a frenzy. Exploiting a brief lapse in the U.S. defense, McDavid snuck past the blue line, received a perfect pass from Cale Makar, and rifled a wrist shot past the American goaltender. Team Canada was up 1-0, and the energy in the arena was electric. But Team USA was unfazed. They knew they had to weather the storm and stick to their game plan. With relentless forechecking and crisp passing, they slowly gained control of the pace. Their efforts paid off midway through the second period when Dylan Larkin delivered the equalizer. Taking advantage of a Canadian turnover, Larkin maneuvered past 2 defenders and launched a lightning-fast shot into the net, silencing the roaring Canadian crowd. It was now 1-1, and the momentum had shifted. As the game progressed, the physicality never let up. Players crashed into the boards with punishing hits, and each possession felt like a life-or-death battle. Team Canada tried to regain their footing, but the American defense, led by Adam Fox and Charlie McAvoy, stood firm. The U.S. penalty kill was put to the test when Canada earned a power play, but stellar goaltending from Connor Hellebuyck kept them from capitalizing. With just minutes left in the second period, Team USA delivered the go-ahead goal. This time, it was Jake Guentzel who found himself in the right place at the right time. After a perfectly executed setup by Jack Hughes, Guentzel ripped a shot past the Canadian goalie, giving the U.S. a 2-1 lead heading into the final period. The silence in the Bell Center was deafening, a stark contrast to the overwhelming confidence the Canadian fans had just moments before. The third period was a masterclass in defensive discipline and strategic play from Team USA. Knowing that Canada would come out aggressively, they focused on controlled possession and smart defensive positioning. McDavid and his teammates pushed hard for the equalizer, firing shots from all angles, but Hellebuyck remained a wall between the pipes. Each save further frustrated the Canadian squad, while the American bench grew more confident by the second. As the clock ticked down, Canada pulled their goalie in a desperate attempt to tie the game. This left their net vulnerable, and Team USA took full advantage. In a defining moment, Jake Guentzel secured his second goal of the game with an empty netter, sealing the 3-1 victory for the Americans. The U.S. bench erupted in celebration, knowing they had just taken down their biggest rival in their own backyard. This win was more than just a tournament victory, it was a statement. Team USA had ended Canada's dominant 17-game winning streak in best-on-best competitions, proving they were more than capable of going toe-to-toe with the world's best. The win also secured their place in the championship game, setting the stage for what could be an even bigger moment in American hockey history. For Team Canada, the loss was devastating. What began with overwhelming home support and an early lead had unraveled into one of their most painful defeats in recent years. They had underestimated the resilience and tactical sharpness of Team USA, and in the end, it cost them a chance at the final. The bitter taste of defeat was made worse by the way they lost. Outplayed in all 3 zones, unable to capitalize on crucial power plays, and ultimately, outworked by a hungry American squad. As the final buzzer sounded, the contrast between the 2 teams couldn't have been clearer. The Americans, celebrating a hard-fought and well-earned victory, and the Canadians, left stunned on their home ice, realizing they had let history slip away. The post-game handshake line was tense, with clear frustration on the faces of the Canadian players. They knew this loss would sting for a long time. With this victory, Team USA has set themselves up as the team to beat in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship. The blend of physical dominance, defensive discipline, and clutch scoring makes them a formidable opponent for any team they face next. But the job isn't done yet. The championship game looms, and if this match was any indication, Team USA is ready to bring the fight to whoever stands in their way. That's all for today's deep dive into this incredible showdown. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on all things hockey. This is United Sports, bringing you the best game analysis from around the world. See you in the next one.